We on another day in the life of a designer. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you share with your friends and family so that way they can stay tuned, tapped in to what we got going on here at Dreams of Rulers. Make sure you also check out our From the Mud collection, which is available on our website. Spoken Word album is available um, on all streaming platforms, and book is available on all book platforms, but also available at your local library as well too. So definitely tap in. Give me 1 second, y'all. We're gonna be talking about why I don't want customers, why we need supporters, community. Whoa. Bust my ass. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Yeah, I definitely know it's this hot outside. But what's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Make sure that y'all like and subscribe. Make sure that y'all tap in. Stay tapped in with what we got going on here at Dreams of Rulers. Make sure that y'all, check out our From the Mud collection, our spoken word album, and the poetry book as well too. I appreciate everybody that's been supporting us, been tapping in with us, been, liking and sharing the lives. It's been helping us to continue to grow. And like I said, what we're going to talk about tonight is why I don't want customers. If someone only buys, one product and disappears, have I really built a brand? That's our opening question. We always like to open with the question here on Day of Life of a Designer. Sorry, I'm exhausted, bro. Like, they had me fucking balling in that motherfucker. But answer to the question is, Dreams of Rulers isn't trying to, create one-time transactions. We're trying to, build a fashion house people can return to because they believe in the philosophies, the craftsmanship, and the overall evolving story. The title sounds crazy, but until you really think about it, does it? You feel me? When I say I don't want customers, I don't, I'm not necessarily saying I don't want people to buy from my business. What I'm ultimately saying is that I want something much deeper than a transaction. I want y'all to catch a vibe, an experience, a moment in life, to where y'all can go back, tell your friends, your family about it, and they be in awe as well too. Most businesses, they chase sales, website transactions, followers, viral moments. Here, what our ultimate goal is, building that trust, respect, long-term relationships, a community that understands the ultimate vision for our brand. Luxury fashion houses aren't remembered because people bought, one item or a few items. They remember because people believed in what they had represented. If you're a fashion designer out there, creative director, brand owner, would you rather have 10,000 one-time customers or, 1,000 people who gradually believe in what you're building? That's ultimately, what I'm trying to do here. Have 1,000 people, who truly believe in what we're doing here at Dreams of Rulers and, wants to build with us. The difference between a customer and a believer A customer just buys the product, you know what I'm saying, with no thought in mind about who created it, why they created it, etc. A believer buys into the philosophy. A customer asks, what does this cost? A believer asks, what does this stand for? You feel me? A believer watches the documentaries you got going on, you know what I'm saying? Understands the collections, understands the direction of the brand, shares the stories, you know what I'm saying? Even reposts the posts. You feel me? What's good, Lululemon? Appreciate y'all for, commenting. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everyone that's been on the live so far. Make sure that, you comment your thoughts as well, too. Any questions that you got, based on the topic at hand. And, make sure you share the video with your friends and family so that way they can catch the gems as well, too. But again, a believer grows with the brand. That's how fashion houses are ultimately built. You feel me? Here at Dreams of Rulers, it was never really about clothes. You feel me? Appreciate you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. Hey, that's all that matters. You tapped in at the right time. You feel me? What we primarily talking about is, why you don't want customers, why I don't want customers, you feel me? For my brand, the ultimate goal is that, you want to have believers, supporters, people that want to build in your community. You feel me? White House, you know what I'm saying? I'm all about, justice for the right people. I'm not all tapped into that Palestine war that's going on. But you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm all for the just people. So that's the case for that situation. I agree. Otherwise, no comment. But, back to the conversation at hand. Here at Dreams of Rulers, it's never been about clothes. It's about, street luxury fashion. Our philosophy, which is visualize your purpose, live like royalty. You feel me? If I, never sold another hoodie, what would, Dreams of Rulers still represent? Like I said, we're like the missing chapter in American fashion. Culture, the body of work that we have. Products introduce, the people to your brand, but ideas keep them connected. You feel me? My story isn't about, marketing. It's about, growing up in Willingboro, New Jersey, where, shit was good, but it wasn't perfect. You had an element of, seeing what life could be, but at the same time, knowing that just wasn't enough or it, you feel me? Being homeless, ever since the middle of 10th grade, moving from people's houses, moving from washrooms, fucking laundromats, fucking cars and shit like that. Having to constantly start over, learning how to, tailor through James Baldwin at his tailor shop when I was 18. The different forms of poetry and the free form poetry that I write, the graphic design elements, launching Dreams of Rulers in 2018. All these, points aren't, marketing tactics. This is why, our brand philosophy exists. This is why Dreams of Rulers exists, because people don't connect with perfection. They connect with, an overall purpose, an overall, plan and direction of a brand. Why street fashion needs community more than consumers. Street fashion has always been, about people, not corporations. That's kind of another reason why we're trying to integrate street and luxury, because street isn't corporate, you feel me? And luxury is. And we're, technically a corporation. So, A lot of the shit I'm doing isn't, I guess you could say, like what a corporation would do. But at the same time, the building blocks, the identity, the belonging, the creative expression and shared ambition, that's what makes, someone ultimately stay to a brand long after the purchase. And, you know, that's why, we're focused more in on building a community to, for example, y'all get on the lives, y'all, had an opportunity to talk directly to me through the, comments and the chat versus, what I'm saying, I'm posting up a product telling you why we made it and then boom, pissing in a bucket hoping that y'all buy it. You feel me? Every collection, should start with a conversation. From the Mud wasn't just about clothing. You feel me? This is really what it's asking, what grows from pressure. You feel me? Our next collection, Student of the Game, asks, what does it mean to stay a student while chasing mastery? You feel me? Every collection should ask a question, not just release products. You know what I'm saying? Fashion houses build conversations. Clothing brands build inventory. You know what I'm saying? Building a house instead of, chasing sales. The difference is selling products versus, building archives, philosophy, design language, community standards, trust. A sale pays today's bills, but trust builds tomorrow's fashion house and ultimately pays you for life. You feel me? What I hope, people say about Dreams of Rulers is that, instead of I just bought, one of their hoodies, I understand what Dreams of Rulers stands for. I watched, this brand evolve. I've been here since the beginning. You feel me? I feel like I'm a part of the journey. That's how brands become institutions. You feel me? Building believers, ultimately, you should be asking yourself, what kind of relationship do I want with the people who support my brand? And like I said, I want it to be where, it's like an open door. Same way I be telling my hoes, even my new girl, like, yo, it's open. Doors of the church is open. You feel me? If you treat the church right, you get all the tithes and offer. You feel me? Treat the church bad, that shit gonna burn down. So ultimately, I just want to treat people the way I would want to be treated. Show them that, there's a better side to life. Show you all there's a better side to life. You feel me? And just show you how to move with intent and purpose. Because a lot of y'all miss that whole concept. But, how do I earn trust instead of demanding attention? Being consistent, being disciplined, sticking to the plan that we have in course. Making sure that, we also check in with y'all, see what y'all want from the brand, see, where y'all at in life. Tap in with y'all in the sense of, on real life things instead of just about the brand. What value should never change as, your brand grows. Of course, your focus, your discipline, your consistency, you know what I'm saying? You putting in the time and effort, and that's pretty much it, man. Because the whole thing is a journey and a process. It's just a matter of understanding that, you got to stay consistent in order to see it through, in order to be able to see the results that are there for you. You feel me? This is why, I don't want customers, because customers can disappear after one purchase, after one conversation. You know what I'm saying? I want people who believe in what Dreams of Rulers is trying to build. People who understand that every collection is another chapter. Every live stream is another brick, and every conversation is a part of a bigger vision. If I can earn that kind of trust, the products will always have a place and sell themselves. Because the real foundation of a fashion house isn't the clothes, it's the people who choose to grow with it. You feel me? So, just think about it this way. What brands do you truly believe in and why? You feel me? Have you ever supported a company because of its philosophies instead of its products? You feel me? What keeps you coming back to the same brands year after year? What's the difference between building, an audience and building a community? And, what does a street luxury fashion house owe the people who they believe in? You know what I'm saying? Just take those questions, really think about, how you want to build your brand, how you want to build, your fashion house. And, understand that here at Dreams of Rulers, it isn't about chasing transaction. It's about building a street luxury house that people want to be a part of because they believe in us. They believe in our mission. They believe in our values, principles, and our evolving story. So, like I said before, all it takes is, a solid plan. You sticking to the plan, you doing the research, for that plan, and you executing that motherfucker so your dreams and goals come to fruition. All it takes is consistency in order for you to get your goals, you feel me, and discipline and focus. Just gotta put that effort in. You gotta put that time in. And if you put in some real work, I guarantee you, the people that, support your brand, support your business, won't be customers. They'll be real live supporters, people that continuously come back, have their own, aligning story with the brand and why they keep coming back, and be able to share that with other people as well too. So you got to keep going. You can't stop. Can't take no breaks, because there's people that depend on you to show up each and every day, whether they let you know or not. So keep showing up. Show these motherfuckers what you got and let them know who you are. Keep visualizing. I'm going to catch y'all on the next live stream. I'm out.